Hi guys, and welcome back to another Dr. Race video, and today we're going to be playing MotoGP 21. We're here in the Red Bull Ring of Spielberg for the Austrian GP in our Moto2 career mode. So starting in pole position is Sam Lowes with Remy Gardner and Marco Bezzecchi on the front row, Marcel Schrotter, Fernandez and Grant on the second. Ben Schneider, Di Gianantonio, Roberts, Ramirez, Dixon, Fernandez, Baldassari, Agura, Bobier, Manzi, Vierge, Orbelino, Canet, Vietti, Navarro, Buliga, Garso, Cyrene, Arenas, Luti, Montella, Corsi, Baltas, Delaporta and Somkiat Chandra at the back of the grid. We now look to the lights from 6th position, waiting for them to disappear, and away we go. That's a good start that from Grant. Power setting 3, medium front, medium rear. Let's do it. Try and get up on the inside of Marco Bezzecchi, potentially up the inside of Remy Gardner as well, but not quite. Bezzecchi will go around the outside. Nice tight apex there, getting behind, or at least alongside Marco Bezzecchi, who's made a little bit of contact there. Dropping it down to power setting 2. I'm going to try and save the power on every single straight, or at least most of the straights if we can. But we'll try and go into turn 3 now in second or third position rather, as Marco Bezzecchi very, very strong there on the brakes. He goes up on the inside. Sam Lowes leads, Remy Gardner in second, and Marco Bezzecchi in third place. And this is exactly what I feared that would happen. I anticipated that Sam Lowes and Gardner would try and bolt at the front, and we would have to do everything we can to try and get in with them. If we get bogged down behind, there is just no chance of us stopping them. Their pace is just too quick for us. We're going to have to try and get ahead of Marco Bezzecchi sooner rather than later. This could be the former as we'll try and get ahead of Marco Bezzecchi now into turn 6. It's going to be very tight there on the exit, but Grant is strong. Grant persevered and he's now up into the podium positions. Third place for the Moto2 World Championship leader as things stand. Sam Lowes, Gardner, Grant, Bezzecchi. You got to feel that these guys, Raul Fernandez, that these guys are the best of the best in Moto2 right now. Going onto the right hand side for turn 9, Remy Gardner is stalking Sam Lowes. Gardner wants to get a bit of the action. He wants to lead this Grand Prix, rocking the momentum after winning in the Kimi Ring, but Grant has closed in dramatically. Brilliantly done there from Grant coming out of the final corner alongside Remy Gardner side by side. Here we come, going into turn 1. Who's going to be the last of the late breakers? You got to think Remy Gardner was the last of the late breakers. I tip my hat, I doff my cap to you, Remy Gardner. That was fantastic. Sam Lowes leads with Gardner and Grant trailing behind. Britain, Australia, Britain battling it out for the top 3 positions. Lowes still leads temporarily as Gardner will try and line him up, or he's just happy to sit there for now as Grant chucks it in behind Remy Gardner. Now, of course, this is difficult territory for me right now. We really struggle on the straights compared to these guys. We're good on the brakes, we're good in the corners, but the long straights is where we suffer. I haven't upgraded the bike to the sense of upgrading any sort of speed or extra torque. It's not really happening for us. We didn't bother with it this season. I've not been doing the development tests either, as I just see Raul Fernandez just jump ahead of Joe Roberts in the bottom left-hand corner, or at least the left-hand side of our timing screen. Raul Fernandez in 8th place right now. Not a great result so far for Raul, but I expect to see him further up in the order towards the end of the Grand Prix. But now into the left-hander of turn 7. Flick it to the right for turn 8. Let's try and get back into Remy Gardner. We'll need to try and make a move sooner rather than later, just like we did with Marco Bezzecchi. Don't let him try and get away from us. Don't let him bolt. Just stay within ourselves, stay within them, and try and get ahead when we can. We could potentially be close enough for turn 10. Can we go round the outside? This will be a bold move. We can make it stick. Round the outside for turn 10. Not quite. Power setting 2 for the time being, but it could be wise to chuck it back up to power setting 3. I'm quite reserved when it comes to the fuel, as Marco Bezzecchi is the fastest man on track behind us with a 1:31.488, 0.3 of a second quicker than the man in front of him, Matt Grant. Chuck it into power setting 3 perhaps? Yes, let's chuck it up to power setting 3 and let's go for it. Get in behind Remy Gardner, get in behind Sam Lowes, get that double slipstream and just chuck it in the upside of turn 3 if we get the chance. Hard on the brakes for turn 3, the right boot out for Gardner, the right boot out for Grant. That's it, we're closing him in into turn 3. Getting away from us and the exit every time at turn 3. Their exit speed is phenomenal compared to the man behind them. Grant not quite got the same amount of oomph as Sam Lowes takes a good look behind him. Don't remember what happened to Sam Lowes in real life in Assen. The last time he looked around his shoulder, Remy Gardner up on the inside, and there you go. History has a way of repeating itself sometimes, and Sam Lowes now trails to Remy Gardner. He's in second place as Gardner inherits the lead. Sam Lowes could be losing another position right now as Grant tries to dive up the inside for the man in Lincolnshire. Beautifully done. Grant gets up on the inside. Turn 7 has claimed another victim for Grant as he chucks it on the right hand side now for turn 8. Grant is looking menacing. Gardner's looking racy. Who's it going to be? I can't wait to see what happens with all these laps left remaining in this session. It's going to be so good. I've been really looking forward to Austria because last season we sort of missed out towards the end. Darren Binder was just too good and no one got close to him. But this one, I want to take victory. We didn't take victory in Assen, but we managed to achieve that here in Moto 2. Brilliant. We did set the fast lap of the race temporarily, but now Marcel Schrotter has just invited himself to the fast lap of the race as Gardner and Grant make a little bit of contact as Gardner was just that little bit more stronger on the brakes. It's another similar story. Gardner got a fantastic exit out of turn 1 and has already eked out a couple of tenths of a second, 4 tenths of a second to be exact, and now it's all the work to be done once again. Hard on the brakes for turn 3. Right hand side movement once again. Get the bike lined up, get accelerating, and just try and stay within range of Remy Gardner. Looks like Sam Lowes must have made a big mistake somewhere because he has now dropped down to 5th place as Marcel Schrotter just enters the picture there. We've had some good battles with Marcel Schrotter this season, and it looks like we're about to do it battle once again as Marcel Schrotter's trying to dive up at the inside. Maybe he fancies taking it to Remy Gardner. Maybe we should let him through and try and get behind him to let him do the donkey work to chase down Remy Gardner. But I wasn't expecting to see Marcel Schrotter involve himself in this battle so soon. Now into the left-hand side for turn 7 once again on the left-hand side of the tyre. Flick it to the right-hand side of the tyre. Not onto the right side of the tyre that much because we'll then line it up, straighten the motorcycle up, preparing for turn 9. We lost a lot of time to Remy Gardner in this one. Couple of tenths of a second here and there. We're on the limit once again, but do recall every time we've been in these difficult situations of chasing down the leader as their gap increases, we have made mistakes. Now with only 8 rounds remaining, we have to make sure that we try and think about the championship now because of course it is getting tougher and tougher to try and maintain ahead, and there is Marcel Schrotter. Here's the move up at the inside into turn 1 was absolutely wonderfully calculated and executed, so brilliant stuff there for the German, and even on power steering 3 on the exit we could not compete with Marcel Schrotter's exit speed. I didn't think we had a bad entry into that corner, but Marcel Schrotter just did it that little bit much better. Hopefully Marcel Schrotter can take us to the promised land, which is victory contention here in Austria. Now coming out of the corner, look at the difference between Marcel Schrotter and Matt Grant. Marco Bezzecchi is now less than a tenth of a second behind. Things aren't looking too grand for Grant anymore, it's not looking too gravy. We're going to have to see what we can do now, getting on hard on the brakes for turn 4. And we've made a mistake going wide for turn 4. That has compromised a lot of speed to Marcel Schrotter. And of course, you will see the timing screen on the left-hand side there. Marco Bezzecchi, 2 tenths of a second behind to get a little bit out of shape on the brakes for turn 6. Marco Bezzecchi says, remember this corner where you overtook me last time? Let me get through. Let me repay the favour. Now back on the left-hand side, we need to try and stay within range of Marco Bezzecchi. We can't lose the slipstream because he could potentially help us get back to the podium positions, or at least fighting with Marcel Schrotter and Remy Gardner ahead. But right now the gap is 1.7 seconds to Gardner ahead. This might not be it for us. We could still fight back potentially, but I don't think we have the pace or the top-end speed to chase them down without the slipstream. We're going to have to dig deep if we want to try and compete with these guys right now. But honestly, 3rd place finish is not the end of the world. Yes, we will lose the championship lead to Remy Gardner, but it's still quite a lot of races left in the season. Let's just push on, let's keep going and see what happens. Almost 50% of this Grand Prix has been completed. Plenty of laps left in this one for anything to change, for better or for potentially the worse. Now going into turn 2, right-hand side, turn 3, the really innocuous corner. It is so hard to get this corner right every single time, and we didn't really get it right there as Marco Bezzecchi, he's back up on the inside. The Sky VR46 rider is now up into 3rd position, and he might have the edge actually because it's going to be tough to attack him here. Getting a little bit out of shape there. We went a little, oh my god, we tried to go round the outside of Bezzecchi there as we bumped into the back of him. Really out of shape there. Gesticulation from Grant as he waves his arm in apologies to Marco Bezzecchi, but Marco Bezzecchi's a good guy, he'll know that wasn't intentional, but Bezzecchi definitely got the best of Grant right there. The Petronas SRT not looking too good right now. He is the only man on that particular bike in the top 10. Jake Dixon, Xavi Vierge, nowhere to be seen right now. As Raul Fernandez is on a bit of a charge. He's now moved up into 6th place, right behind Sam Lowes. Sam Lowes has gone backwards in this one. He has really not done too well. Something has happened to him because he was looking so promising to start this particular Grand Prix off. but no longer in anywhere part of the contention for the podium positions, and certainly not for the win. So across the line we will go to start lap number 7 of 13, and you have to believe that this race is looking more and more difficult for Grant right now. The podium is the best that we can potentially have, and we just have to chase down Marco Bezzecchi, do everything we can on the straight, and then try and get ahead of him into turn 3 perhaps. We just have to stay within range to be close enough for a potential lunge. Now we are closing in with Bezzecchi with the slipstream enabled. Can we get in there by getting into the hard on the brakes? It's going to be so difficult to attack Marco Bezzecchi, especially when he is so strong into turn 3. Marco Bezzecchi, the last of the late breakers, well done once again, but look at the exit speed. We aren't anywhere near him. This is going to be such a difficult Grand Prix to maintain podium pace. The race is so fast as well. These guys are on the absolute limit. But at the same time, I think Bezzecchi might actually be closing in on Marcel Schrotter. We could be actually hindering his performance by trying to battle with him all the time. It could be wise just to get him behind Bezzecchi and let him do the donkey work. Let him help us take us back to where we should be, and that is battling for second or first position, not right now for fourth and third. Sam Lowes is no making any impression behind us. He's 0.6 of a second down. Raul Fernandez is probably somewhere behind him in the sense of getting close or closer. I don't think Sam Lowes will be looking at a 5th place finish when Raul Fernandez is on a charge, as I think he might be on right now. Turn 9 navigated pretty well. As long as we do some particular corners right, I can get into the rhythm. If I start messing up into turn 9, then I'm going to get a bit concerned. But right now, plenty of tyre life. We did go for the softer option of the two. Most of the riders went for the hard option, which is also a little bit concerning, because if Remy Gardner is on the hard option right now, that means there is going to be no drop-off. He is just going to continue to chuck out the fast lap times and just decimate the field like he is already doing. We've seen it a lot this season from Remy Gardner, and we have also seen it from Sam Lowes. Once they get to the front, they are impervious. You cannot beat them. And of course in Moto2, a lot of the bikes are the same. Well, actually all of the bikes are the same. As we make a mistake going into turn 3, we made that same mistake into qualifying, and that has completely scuppered our chances of any sort of podium here today. The best possible position we can possibly hope for now is 4th place. 5th place is not the end of the world, with Raul Fernandez 0.8 of a second behind. He is on a charge. Who knows if we're going to be able to cope with him. But right now, we still have to beat some tremendous talent to even get 4th place. We were quite consistent with the lap times there as well, so I'm disappointed that I have made that mistake. We were getting into a nice rhythm with the 1:31.6s, but unfortunately, yes, mistakes were made under pressure once again. Under pressure, diamonds are made, but right now, not looking like a diamond, it's looking like a failed attempt. 22 karat gold plonker right now after making that mistake into turn 3. We're going to have to do what we can to try and fight back, especially to Sam Lowes here. We might be able to close in on turn 9 if we can get this one right, but my confidence on the front end is lacking somewhat after making that mistake a moment ago into turn 3. Turn 10 to navigate now for the final corner of lap 8. Little bit of a mistake on the gears there. We tried to go up into 4th gear too early. I went for a sort of a double click on the triangle button, my mistake. As we now go into turn 1, we have closed in somewhat on Sam Lowes. I don't think 4th place is actually out of contention yet, but battling for 3rd, 2nd and 1st, yeah, I think we can count that one out. There's just not enough laps remaining for us to develop some sort of rhythm. Of course, we did make that big mistake on the last lap. We'll try not to do it again, but going up on the inside of Sam Lowes potentially. Oh my lord, this is going to be a late lunge if I ever did see one. We did temporarily get into 4th place, but is it enough? Not quite. Sam Lowes bumps us straight back down to 5th place, but that was decent in the sense of we actually got ahead of Sam Lowes and we have closed in quite well, because he had to take a different line. He wasn't able to break in as much as he would have liked. As Sam Lowes snakes the bike a little bit there. Grant does a little bit of the same. Grant up on the inside of turn 4. Is this going to be a move? It's going to be very close. They're going to be side by side. Is this enough? Going into turn 6, do we have 4th place? We do! Sam Lowes dropped the position once again into turn 6. Good job there from Grant for being able to fight back. 4th place, not the end of the world. Only missing out by the podium by 1 position. You can't be too frustrated with that one. Of course, Marcel Schrotter is still the fastest man on track from earlier on with the 1:38.927. I don't think we'll see any changes of that one unless I can go really, really quick as Sam Lowes just bumps into the back of Grant there. I think Grant braked a little bit too early. As I say, I didn't quite have the confidence on the front end as much as we did at the start of this session. The tyres are feeling a little bit weaker, especially now into the latter stages of this Grand Prix. It's less than 1/10 of a second to Sam Lowes. He's actually super close now. It's down to the milliseconds. Can we get into turn 1 and still hold on to 4th position? That is a fantastic entry from Grant there. That is probably one of the best entries I've done all weekend. That was superb. Still utilising power setting 2, and Sam Lowes is right there. He is right onto the rear tail without any sort of any slipstream necessary. He was right there without a doubt. Now onto the right hand side for turn 3. I expected a Sam Lowes lunge there, I won't lie. But this is good battle actually between two of the British riders. Now Sam Lowes has usually come out on top when we've battled before. I've only been able to take 1-0, to take one victory over him, let's say, not 1-0 because it's right. I think it's like 2-1 to Lincolnshire ahead of the man from Warrington, the 26-year-old Matt Grant there in 4th place. It's been a good battle between the Brits, so I have really enjoyed that one, and I've definitely enjoyed that sort of joke that we've got going with Andy Yates. Shout out to you in another video once again. But now onto the inside for turn 6, lining the motorcycle up, get onto the left hand side for turn 7, and we start trying to pursue Marco Bezzecchi, the Italian who's 2 seconds ahead of us. So now, since there's a bit of a lull in the video, I guess I could ask you to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. It does help the channel out exponentially, so I would be very, very grateful if you could do that for me now. As we now go on to the inside of turn 10, nice tight apex. Line her up on the exit there, full acceleration. We could be setting a decent lap here, getting into some good rhythm. Once again, it's the fastest lap of the race. It's a 1:30.800. Regardless of how the tyres feel, Grant is back in the charge once again. He is now feeling himself, and he's back in range of potentially fighting for 3rd place. I don't know if we are in range, but I want to go for it. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind if we can keep that pace going, we can close in on Marco Bezzecchi. Not a chance to Schrotter and Gardner, but as long as we can get closer and closer to Bezzecchi, then I'm going to feel pretty good about myself going into the next Grand Prix. Now, we might lose the championship standings to Remy Gardner, but I feel really good about this track in general. I love this track so much. And the feeling of chasing down Marco Bezzecchi right now, yes, we might run out of time, but I'm glad we're still able to fight towards the end of the sessions. We faced a bit of adversity by falling backwards, making that mistake into turn 3, dropping behind Sam Lowes, but I feel like we're in a bit of good rhythm right now to potentially chuck in some more fast laps. I don't think we'll catch Marco Bezzecchi, not at all, but I do like the feeling of being able to get back into some sort of pace. It did feel that there, when we made that mistake, everything was going to go backwards, and we were going to do the same mistakes we did in Catalonia, and in the Kimi Ring, and even in the Saxon Ring, which of course also a disastrous Grand Prix. We've had quite a lot of bad Grand Prix this season, and I think that needs to be the end of them. We need to be looking forward, and we need to be doing nothing but good racing. So into turn 10 once again. This is going to be another great lap from Grant. This could be another 1:38, or at least very, very close to, and across the line it is a 1:30.808. So just 0.08 of a second slower than the previous lap time. Magnificent Matt Grant back in the saddle once again. Now 1.3 seconds is the gap to Marco Bezzecchi, so I'm still going to look into it nonetheless. Granted, we have a bit of fuel to burn, so I might as well stay in power setting 3 for the rest of this race, and I might be a little bit too conservative with the power setting, you know. I'm always dead conscious about utilising too much fuel, but I think with right now we should have probably stayed with power setting 3. We do get our second track limit warning there. I don't even remember getting the first track limit warning, to be honest with you. I don't even think I made mention to it, because I don't believe I've mentioned it, but I don't think we'll get a long lap penalty within just 1.5 laps. I certainly shouldn't think that's possible. But we get on the inside for turn 4, lovely tight apex once again. This could be another fastest lap from Grant. And to set this sort of pace at this session of the Grand Prix right now on medium tyres, the softer option of the rest of the tyres everyone else has chosen, that's phenomenal. We have a lot of positive things to take away from here in Austria. I don't think we were ever going to win this one. The guys were just too quick on the straight lines. Granted, if we had qualified a little bit better, we might have been able to hold Sam Lowes and Remy Gardner back a bit, but I just don't think it was possible. Granted, a little bit of mistake, and I've said granted once many times in this video, is making a little bit of a mistake there into turn 9, just happened to look away at the wrong moment, and going into turn 10 to complete the penultimate lap. The fast lap times have come to a close, but it's still a damn decent lap nonetheless, so do with that as you will, but the final lap is here. Turn 1 will be entering once again. Make sure we don't mess it up or crash or something absolutely awful. We do end up touching the track limit warning once again. So please, no more. Hopefully I've not jinxed myself. But that is going to be the results of this Grand Prix. I don't think anything's going to change unless we get gifted a podium, which I don't think so. Marco Bezzecchi's too good for that. Marcel Schotter's the same, and same can be said for Remy Gardner. Of course, we ran it a little bit wide there going into turn 3. We just need to calm things down a little bit. This is the final lap. There's nothing to really win or lose from this position. There's certainly a lot to lose. Fourth place is 13 points, which is more than happy to be put in my back pocket compared to anyone else's back pocket right now. And Remy Gardner will lead the championship roughly around 10, 11, 12 points. My maths is not the greatest, so I will find out towards the end of this video. We're breaking into turn 6 for the very final time of asking. We'll get on the left-hand side once again. And that is pretty much after turn 7, as the last time will be on the left-hand side of the tyre. So the left-hand side of the tyre can have a nice sigh of relief, as we are going to miss the podium by just a second or 2 seconds rather, but 5 seconds down to Remy Gardner's nothing to be proud of, not at all. But on the right hand side for turn 9 we go, a little bit too tight to the apex there, would have ended up potentially going in the rumble strip. But turn 10, the last corner here in Austria, has been navigated. Remy Gardner wins back-to-back wins, Marcel Schrotter second, and Marco Bezzecchi in third place. Grant just comes home in fourth place. So as mentioned, Remy Gardner, back-to-back victories for him, with Marcel Schrotter, the German, in second place, and Marco Bezzecchi gets himself back onto podium positions. Grant and Lowe's both missed out on podiums, but you got to believe that they deserved a podium here today. But unfortunately for the Brits, it didn't happen. So now looking at the championship standings, and Remy Gardner now leads the way by just 9 points ahead of Matt Grant and 26 points ahead of teammate Raul Fernandez. We now have a look at the Team Championship. Red Bull KTM IO lead comfortably now by 64 points ahead of Petronas Sprinter Racing and 120 points ahead of Elfmark VDS Racing Team. So guys, as always, thank you very much for watching the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like, comment and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to be alerted to every single Dot Race upload. And upon that note, guys, thank you very much for watching the video, and ciao for now. Oh hi, didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite sate your appetite, then why not watch some more Dot Race content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now, with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single Dot Race video.